Moving on, this is news that should bring some cheer to patients. After putting a cap on the price of cardiac stents, the government has now capped prices of knee implants. Union Minister Anand Kumar said that the price of knee implants will be brought under control with immediate effect. The move is expected to save over 1,500 crore rupees annually. Amita Balachandra gets us more details. Amita, you got us a story of the 300% markup that companies are enjoying, that dealers are making on the price of knee implants. This, this instruction from the government, how will that make knee implants cheaper? How much cheaper will it get now?
Quite cheap, in fact, Kavita, to put it very simply. There was a 300% markup, like the NPPA did point out in its notification that had released that, knee implants could cost anywhere between 2 to 4 lakh rupees. And there was a big markup, a profiteering racket that was going on within hospitals, from distributors to hospitals, and it would cost anywhere between 2 to 4 lakh rupees. We, in fact, spoke to a lot of patients who had undergone surgeries, who had to perhaps take, borrow money and get their knee implants done. Now, of course, it's a big cheer for these people because the government has capped it between 55,000 and 77,000. Unlike, what we saw earlier, cardiac stents, this is a little more complicated because the government has categorized knee implants into 4 different categories, and depending on the, component and the material used, they have now categorized it between 55,000 to 77,000. That is an average price reduction of anywhere between 60 to 70%, in line with what the government has been saying.
Amita, you've been speaking to a lot of these orthopedic surgeons who do these surgeries. You've been speaking to hospitals. Tell us, if somebody were to go and get a knee implant done, now with the price cap coming in between 55 to 75,000 rupees, how much would a knee implant surgery actually cost? How much more cheaper would it become, the procedure, vis-a-vis what people were paying earlier?
Well, anywhere between 65 to 70% is what we understand, because before it would cost anywhere up to 4 lakh rupees depending on the packages, and this would differ between hospital to hospital, but the average price that the NPPA had in fact put out was between 3 to 4 lakhs. That has now come down to 77,000. However, the revision knee implant, of course, costs between 1 to 1.5 lakhs, and that itself is also another 60% reduction. But very interestingly, when I had spoken to surgeons earlier, they had said that one blanket, capping wouldn't help the industry, considering there are different materials that are being used. Looks like the NPPA has taken that into account as well, because now the reduction that has come into place, although it's 60% reduction that we're looking at, they have categorized it based on different components and different, different materials used.
Right. Also, Amita, like you said, revision knee implants, which means that if you go in for a knee implant surgery a second time or a third time, that is going to cost you more. But tell us this, there are other devices as well, which the NPPA was looking into the prices of which. Is there any chance that prices of these devices could also be capped?
Well, not as of now, because when the NPPA did put out a list of how much knee implants in fact actually costed and how this profiteering racket actually happened in hospitals, it had only put out knee implants following cardiac stents. So we understand from sources within the industry that they're only looking at very popular products at this point in time. A list of medical devices had also been given by the All India Drug Network to the NPPA, which they are currently looking at perhaps, but sources tell us that that might not be in the offing anytime soon, at least.
Right, Amita, thank you for getting us all those details. It's going to become cheaper to walk if you have a knee injury. 60% reduction in prices of knee implants.